The purpose of this video is to show you what your screen is going to look like when you take the Parcc exam. This is the main screen, and there are a few tools that I want to show you so that you'll know how to use them when you get to the test that day. The first thing to realize is there are two scroll bars. Okay, if you have your cursor out here, it will scroll up and down so that you can see all the questions. And then there's a second scroll bar for the passage. So your cursor needs to be in this box so you can scroll up and down to see the rest of the text. Now let's look along the top. The arrow keys are what are going to send you to the next question. So once you have answered this question, you would hit next. If you need to go back to a question, you can always hit the back arrow. The next thing along the top of the toolbar that you see is this review button. This review, if you click it, will give you an idea of all the questions on the test. And as you can see, we didn't get to these questions yet. We're only on question 1, so they have not been viewed. If you go to the top, it's letting you know you didn't answer these questions. Okay? To go back to the menu, you need to go to Return to Question. If you flag a question, that will allow you to put a flag that reminds you to go back. So when you're done with a section of the test and you hit Review, it will let you know which questions you flagged. Flagging is a good idea when you're not sure of an answer and you want to move on and not waste too much time, so you can flag it and go back to it later, and this way you can find it very easily. And if you hit View, it'll bring you to that flagged question. The pointer is what you're on most of the time. That's what will allow you to put answers in the boxes and to scroll up and down. The notepad feature brings up a box where you can type notes to yourself. Okay, so if you just want to remember something or you want to do some planning, you can type in here. Okay, so remember the main idea. Okay, and if you close it, it will be there when you get back. The other tool that you have at your disposal is called Answer Eliminator. And if you forget what any of these tools are, if you just hover, it'll tell you. Okay, so we're going to look at Answer Eliminator. That will allow you that if you are looking at a question and you know that an answer is wrong, let's say I know that B is wrong, I can put a big X over it so that I'm not even looking at it. And maybe I think D is wrong, so that I can just concentrate on the two that are still left. If you want to take that off, if you say, oh no, I want this one off, you just toggle on it again, it'll get lighter, and then if you move your cursor away, it will go away. Okay, so you can take it off. And then if you want to go back, you can put it on. To get out of Answer Eliminator altogether, you need to go back here. If you notice that this box is gray, that means it's on. So now I'm done with that. I don't want to use it anymore. I'm going to take it off. It will keep what you crossed out on there. But say you want to answer Part B now, you don't have that on. So if you want it again, you need to go back and toggle it on. There are two other tools that are not obvious up here. They're actually in, your name should be here. If you pull this drop-down menu, you have a magnifier. If you enable it, that means you're putting it on. If you click inside, you can drag it on text so that if there's a word that looks small or punctuation that you can't see, this will make it larger. Okay? And if you want to take it off, you have to go back and disable it. When the check is there, that means it's on. The second tool you have available under this drop-down menu is a line reader. If you click on that, it'll give you a box so that you can look at text one line at a time. You can move it up and down, okay, when your cursor is in this green part. You can make the box bigger, but that's as big as you can go, so that it'll cover more text, so that maybe it won't be as much of a distraction. And you can also make the window bigger, but it limits you. Okay? And you can move this over so that you can see the answers and just go down a couple of lines at a time if you'd like to read a paragraph at a time, or go back on these little lines, bring it up, and make it smaller. So you can customize this for however you feel comfortable. Now that you will be taking your test on a computer, there are some different types of questions that you're not used to seeing, so let's go over a few of them. As you can see, your text is over here, okay, and your questions are here. Now there is some highlighted text. In the first part, Part A, you have a multiple choice, okay? And there is a circle, which means there's only going to be one answer. Okay? If you scroll down and look at part B, they're asking you to select 3 details, and they give you 3 boxes. The details that you're going to be picking from are these highlighted details, and they'll be in blue. If you scroll up and down, you can see throughout the text there are a bunch of blue areas. So let's say that the first one you're going to select is this one. When you click on it, it turns yellow. And if you hold it, so click and hold, and then you have to click and drag into the box. Okay? Once you hover over the box and let go, it'll put it in the box. Okay? Let's say that you want this one. You're going to take your cursor, you're going to click, hold, and drag to the box. Okay? You'll notice it turns yellow once you've picked it. So when you go back to the text, when you're looking for your third one, you need to look for something that's blue. And if you forget that, you can't click the yellow. It won't let you click it now because you've already chosen it. Let's say that you've decided, I don't like this, is wrong. This one's wrong, so there's a little X here. You just X it out, and then you can see it puts it back to blue in the text. So that's one way for click and drag that you may see. Okay? And they'll give you as many boxes as many answers as you need. Another type of question is also a drag and drop, but it's a little different. You'll see that they labeled these boxes. So here they want the conflict, okay, and the event. So again, you have statements up here, okay, and this time you're not taking it from the text, but you're taking it from your answer. So let's say that the animal must make a hard decision is the conflict. Again, you're going to click and drag. Now it doesn't change color, but if you notice, while you're holding and dragging, you can move it. And then it's showing you where you could put it. The blue boxes are an indication of where. I want this one in conflict. Okay, let's say that this next box, or the animal finds the door open, is event 1. So now I'm clicking, okay, I'm moving, and I'm going to put this here. And I put it in 2. And then you would do that for the rest of the boxes. Now, if you found that you've made a mistake later on, you want to change it, you just click on it, the cursor will change to that cross. Let's say you want to put in event 2. You just drag it down to event 2. Let's say that you know this one's just is wrong, but you don't know where to put it yet. So you can hover on it, click, and put it back in the list. Okay, and it put it back. Okay, so once you've done these things, there are ways to change it. Most of them involve clicking and dragging. Another thing to look out for in the text is underlined words. Some words have a very faint gray dotted line underneath them. If you hover over those words, a question mark comes up. And if you double click, you will get the glossary definition. Okay? You have to stay on it. Or click off of it, it goes away. So throve means grew up well. You can also highlight these words. So let's say you want to highlight that so you know where to find it later on, you can do that. If you double click on it again, you can change the highlight color. And if you double click and you want to get rid of the highlight, you hit the white on highlight. Another type of text question that you're not familiar seeing is a lot of times they're going to ask you to compare passages from 2 novels. Okay, the novels are found from this page. So the first one, if you look up at this tab, From Confetti Girl, and it says From Confetti Girl here, that's the title of this passage, and you have to scroll to see the whole thing. Okay, the other one is called Tortilla Sun, and it's a tab. So if you click on it once, it will bring up the other one. So these tabs toggle between the 2 pieces of text. So you need to be careful of that when you see which one you're in, okay? And you can see this blue line lets you know which one you're in, and you click back and forth for the text that you need. The other type of question is this text box, okay? You type your answer, which are sort of like short constructed response answers here. And the thing to know is that this doesn't mean your answer should only be this size. As long as you type, you will be able to keep going down, okay? So if I put a letter in here, okay, and I just keep typing, you can type as long as you want to make it. It keeps making new lines as you go past. Okay, so that's important to know that you keep typing, okay, and then you'll scroll. You have the scroll bar to go back and forth with your text to know that to make your answer as long as you need it to be. Here's a question that actually asks you to look at 3 texts. So again, go back to your tabs over here to toggle between your different texts. Okay. And this type of question can be very confusing, so we need to really read the directions. It says to select one central idea that is developed in all three texts. Okay, then select one sentence from each text that supports the central idea. Whenever the text is highlighted blue like that, that means you can click on it. So what they're basically answering is you need an answer in each one of these columns. Okay, so the first part, the one central idea, here's central idea column. There are 4 choices. Okay, so the way you would choose this is to click on it to make it yellow. That's how you answer. There's no circle to fill in or a checkbox or anything like that. It's kind of different than what you're used to. So if you scroll, you can see you need it to have it yellow. Then the second part is asking you to select one sentence from each text. So these are the names of the texts, and if you're not sure, you compare here. So the stripes will survive, stripes will survive. So when you go down this column, you need to pick at least one. Okay, so questions like this, you need to pick one in each column. Okay, and then it'll turn yellow. Now again, like with other questions, you can click off of it, okay, and click on something else or change your answer. Now it says you permitted 4 answers. So once this one was yellow, let's say you change your mind, I want this one. If I try to click on it, I get this message that it says you can only have 4 choices, telling me that I can't have 2 answers. So I have to make sure I go back, click on that one to turn it off, and then click on that one to have the answer that I want. When it comes to the drag and drop questions where you have these boxes that you need to move, okay, there are many different styles of them. You have to be careful of what it's asking you. So in this one they make 2 columns and they ask you to distinguish the facts from the judgments, okay? So dragging them, you would put them in the box that you decide that you want. Okay, and again, if you make a mistake or decide to change, you can take it back out, okay, or leave it where it is. Here's another one. This one's a different type of graph where it asks you the steps in the process and wants to put these in sequential order. So it's asking you what's first. Okay, so you need to click and drag and put them in the box. Okay, so it's something to be careful of when we look at drag and drop questions. Now there's another type question on the Parcc, okay, and if you notice with this one, there's a square here instead of a circle, okay. When you see an answer with a circle, that means they're only looking for one answer, but when they have squares, that means there can be more than one answer. And it says possible activities needed to turn on the LED light, which means that there's going to be more than one answer here. So if you notice, you can put in more than one answer, okay, and the difference is you're going to see a little check. So when you see a check in a check box, that means there's more than one answer. If you see a circle, there's only one answer. And if you're unsure of that when you click in the circle, of a question like this one, okay, if you try to click more than one answer, it takes it away from here. So you know that it's only one answer. Okay, but squares definitely have more than one answer. Be aware with what we were just talking about with the squares and the circles, they can actually put them in the same passage. So if you notice here, part A, there are circles with only one answer, and then part B has check boxes. Okay, so you can have those different types of questions within one passage. Another type to look at. Here is a passage, okay, on the left here. You'll see that there's a big blank box on the right. So you're saying, how do you put your answers? Okay, so it says select 2 sentences from paragraphs 13 to 23. So if you go down and you scroll, you'll see all of this is not highlighted, but all of a sudden you're going to come to a part that's highlighted. Your answers have to come from the highlighting, from the light blue. So you can't pick a statement from here. And I'm clicking right now, you can see it's not doing anything. Okay, it's highlighting, you could highlight words, but it's not highlighting to get answers. Okay, so you have to go to where the highlighted passages, and it does tell you 13 to 23. So here's passage 13, paragraph, to 23. Okay, and that's where you'll get your answers from. To get the answers, you have to select 2. Again, you highlight, and it'll turn yellow. Okay, and as you can see, you may only highlight a certain part. It doesn't only mean that the whole paragraph. So if you click here thinking that your answer is paragraph 14, it's only going to click on the one sentence. So it's very specific, okay, and it says select 2. You have to be careful that it says 2 because there's no way down here for you to know. They don't have 2 boxes or anything like that, so there's no way for you to keep track of how many answers. So you have to click on the 2 statements that you think are the answer and then click next to go to the next question. That would record your answer. So a lot of these things are just a different way of testing than you're used to. The biggest thing to remember is your toolbar up here, okay, and you can see as I go along it hovers, okay, so it can remind you, and this arrow, not to forget, the magnifier and the line reader, okay, that's where you find those two. But all of your tools are found in this toolbar.